first artifact is called the granite statue of Ammon in the form of a ram protecting King Taharka. This artifact is created in 690 BC and it's from the British Museum in London, and it's made out of ice. It's a statue of Ammon in the form of a ram protecting King Taharka. This mythical creature came from the temple at Kawa in Nubia, in which King Taharka had built. The ram was one of the animals sacred to Ammon, and King Taharka was the last Nubian king of Nubia in the 25th dynasty. King Taharka is seen between the front legs and below the animal's head. The second artifact is a coffin of Passin. It's made out of wood and is located at the British Museum in London. You're able to see painted colors on the coffin: blue, red, green, black, and white. The coffin is an example of an afterport that was used in the late Third Intermediate period. Passin is wearing a striped headdress, and around his shoulders and upper body there's a colorful collar with leaves, petal-shaped elements, and flowers. Across the front there is a scene of the judgment of the deceased based on the spell 125 of the Book of the Dead. The bottom portion are spells from the Book of the Dead in which he's declaring his innocence of the offenses against truth and justice. This third artifact is called Limestone Stela of Penby. This artifact is made out of limestone from the 19th dynasty, and it's located at the British Museum in London. It belonged to Penby. Penby was a workman and guardian of the royal tomb at Ramesses II at the Valley of Kings. He's shown worshipping Ptah, the god associated with craftsmen. Ptah sits in a shrine with offerings, and behind him are 7 ears. The ears represent either the willingness of the god to listen or a magical force for the god to hear. Next, we have the black figure, which is located at the British Museum. This is known as the ceramic antique Greek vase, and this technique is a technique that is made with a material called slip that is applied to the surface of the vessel. This slip is some type of clay used with water. Wherever we see the black, it's not paint, it's actual colored clay. The rest is carving with sharp tools and scrape details. Anywhere we see red, that's the red body of the clay itself. The red part is a firing process because it gets oxidized, and the white part is paint. Any color other than red or black is paint. What we see in this vase represents or can be pictured as heroic deeds. The red figure, this is a much preferred technique. This is opposite from the black figure. The slip is actually applied as the background. Then with a thin brush, the details get created. Once red figure technique evolved, the Greeks preferred it because it was a smooth flow rather than scraping all the details. We can see Theseus dragging the monster. It will probably decapitate the creature. Theseus was known as a hero, and that's why it is at the center of the inside cup. And this is an early heroic moment, as there is little evidence for the rest of the history. Last one, we have the funerary cloth. This is known as an Egyptian mural for purification, and this is placed in the chest of the coffin, ensuring eternal provision of offerings. The lotus flower represents rebirth and dating of the new kingdom.
Okay, the first sculpture I'm going to be talking about is Elossos. This is from the series The Parthenon Sculptures, and it was made of marble from the west pediment of the Parthenon. The west side was devoted to show the mythical contest between Athena and Poseidon for supremacy over the land of Attica. The sculpture was made to fit a corner piece. The description of Elossos is known as the river god of Attica in southern Greece. The river would flow from the city of Athens and would empty in the Saronic Gulf just south of the port of Peiraeus, which was actually the main road in Athens. The second figure I'm going to be talking about is Dionysos. He was made from marble from the east pediment of the Parthenon. The east side showed the miraculous birth of the goddess Athena and head of the father Zeus. Most of the statues from the pediment of the Parthenon are either lost or fragmented, and this is the only sculpture to have a surviving head. The description of Dionysos is he also contains the Roman name of Bacchus, the god of wine, merriment, meaning fun, and theater. It is known to be labeled as the bad boy of Mount Olympus, and he was the Greek son of Zeus and Semele, but his mother died during pregnancy. The next figure I'm going to be talking about are the female figures. They were made of marble and also were located in the east pediment of the Parthenon. Both figures were sculpted from one marble rock theory of two figures containing Thalassa in the lap of Gaia. The description is the figures are represented as personification, as Thalassa, meaning sea, is in the lap of Gaia, meaning earth. Thalassa was known as the spirit of the sea. She was created from the storm gods and a tribe of fish. Gaia was the goddess of earth, in which she had influence over all living beings on earth.
The first sculpture I will be talking about is the Harpy tomb on the south side. This sculpture comes from the tombs and shrines built on the Acropolis of Lythian Xanaths, southwest Turkey. This sculpture is just one part of the marble chamber from the Pillar Tomb. It was built in the Persian Achaemenid Empire and dates approximately to 480 to 470 BC. The winged female creature with bird bodies were called harpies, and in her hands she is carrying away a small childlike figure. The reliefs are reminiscent of the reliefs of the Persepolis, and the monument takes its name from the four carved female figures, the harpies. The next artifact I will be speaking about is the marble block from the frieze of the temple of Apollo Epicurus, Apollo the Helper. Greek historian Pausanias says the name Helper was given to Apollo by the citizens of Phlegaria as a thanks for the deliverance from the plague. The Temple of Apollo was built on a high rocky ridge of Mount Koyalton at the Basai in the southwest Arcadius, a region of the Greek Peloponnese. The frieze was around the interior of the principal room, and the block was placed facing the doorway as you enter north. And on the block, it divided into two mythological battles, Greek fighting centaurs and Greek fighting Amazons. The last artifact I will speak about is the Townley Venus. This sculpture was made in the 1st to 2nd century, found in Ostia, which is located in Italy. The name Townley Venus comes from the name Charles Townley, the English antiquarian and collector and the original owner of this marble statue, but is now owned by the British Museum since 1805. This Roman sculpture made of marble is from the collection of Charles Townley and was brought by Galvin Hamilton, who evacuated in Ostia in 1775, and the sculpture was shipped into two pieces to England.
This here artifact is called the conch shell trumpet. It was founded in Sri Lanka. It is a natural trumpet that was created from a seashell with a hole open for blowing air through. The hole is made by breaking off the first three coils of the shell. In Greek mythology, the conch shell was an attribute of Triton, the son of Neptune. It was an ancient symbol of Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam, the religions of sub-Saharan Africa, and the Mayan civilization. The next artifact we have is the Portland vase. It was produced 1st century BCE and the early 1st century CE. It was made in Rome, and it is made from translucent dark cobalt blue and a weak white cameo glass. The vase has a cameo-like back decoration, which may represent the marriage of Peleus and Thetis from Greek mythology. Disaster struck in 145 CE when the vase was smashed into pieces in the British Museum. It has been restored so that it can once more take its rightful place. The last antique we have is the Colmar dancer mask. It was produced in the 19th made in Sri Lanka. It is a mask of a devil's dancers made from wood, and it's made for religious worships and rituals, and used in healing exorcist ceremonies. The healing dance performed by a shaman, and each demon that the shaman performed represents a specific disease or symptoms to invoke the demon.